Moments.
With the islands.
Yeah, we're here again, dropping some more content in your life about marriage. We're excited about marriage ourselves. 14 years married.
Yeah.
My name is Billy Island,
My name is Helena Island.
and we are here to share our marriage experiences, some knowledge, some wisdom. Hopefully, it'll be impactful for you. It'll add value to your marriage, and we'll share some of our mistakes and some of our flaws as well as we go along. So we usually pick a topic in this month because we drop an episode once a month. We're going to talk about a very, very important topic. And what do you think about this topic?
Well, I think it's a very unfortunate topic. It's a little sad, for me. Well, I feel like it's sad, whenever this happens. I've seen it firsthand. We've lived through it. We've gone through this with my sister. And I talked to her this morning, actually, and asked her if we could share her story, through this discussion. So she might pop up periodically. Our topic today is divorce.
Oh, wow.
And divorce is a very real thing. Obviously, we know that. From marriages ending within, I think, 24 hours sometimes, to marriages that have been going seemingly long and strong for 25, 30 years ending. So marriage is a real thing inside and outside, obviously outside of the church, but also inside of the church. And so it is a topic that probably has touched everyone in some form.
Yeah, and when she say inside the church, Helena's saying inside the church because we have a biblical worldview. We are Christians. We actually pastor a local church, and so being that that's our perspective, we see it inside the church. Which I think that when we say that, I think for us, being that we know there's power from God that lives inside of us, God Himself lives in us, so we kind of like wonder, like, wow, how could that take place? But it exists.
It does.
And so when you say sad, like, because I could see, it definitely devastating marriage, families. The marriage itself is being devastated.
Yeah.
But you also have kiddos.
Yeah.
Families being torn apart. Dreams that were forged at some point in time because they said "I do" is being shredded. So when you say sad, what perspective would you give us? In giving us understanding of why is it sad for you? I mean, outside of the just obvious reasons.
Yeah. So, like I just said, my sister, who's very, very dear to my heart, she went through a divorce some years ago, and it was sad because I saw her stages, and the beginning of it was very difficult for her. Obviously, she wanted her family. No one just goes into a marriage to say, hey, in a couple of years, I'm going to blow this up, And so she felt very crushed. She felt very betrayed. She felt very, she went through all the grieving stages, angry, even at one point. And so as her sister, it's almost like a part of your heart is tearing in half, But I, obviously I'm not trying to make it about me. I just want to be there for her through all this whole time. And I once heard someone describe divorce as the funeral that no one attends, because there is definitely indeed a death, of, like you just said, hopes and dreams and a whole future, and then she had my nephew. And so it was, just even the hopes and dreams that she wanted for him, in their unit. And so by God's grace, everyone is doing well now. But that's the other side, that's the glory story. But there was a huge time frame where there was just pain, and there was grieving and there was loss there. Yeah. And so that's why I say it's sad.
It's probably at the beginning stages like the nightmare that never ends.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's a reality, and that's why we discuss it. We live in a fallen world. I think in a perfect world, we would hear "I do," and we wouldn't.
We get that happily ever after, right?
Yeah, we would get that, and until glory or until you pass away, they would be together forever. But we don't live in a perfect world,
right?
So we do have divorce, and so there's thoughts that God has towards divorce, and there's thoughts that man has towards divorce. What do you think the difference is between those thoughts?
That's a really good question. I think that the difference probably lies somewhere between self, right? And the misunderstanding of what dying to self looks like in marriage. Because I feel like from God's perspective, the marriage covenant is a picture of Christ and his church, right? And so I feel like when it comes to that, God's perspective is very the willingness to self-sacrifice and to be what someone else needs and to give of yourself to meet the needs of someone else is a very real thing. And I think that a lot of times people go into a marriage for a wedding and they forget that there is a marriage that does require dying to self, that does require living your life with this other person in view of every decision you'll ever make from here on out. And so I think that probably is the biggest difference and the biggest gap. And because you come with a whole bag of expectation, and I come with expectation, it's inevitable.
Sometimes it's unrealistic, right?
And sometimes it is unrealistic.
Let's rewind the tape because you said a mouthful. You said that people often prepare for the wedding, but not marriage. Can you dive a little deeper into that? Because that just kind of like was emotion. The emoji with the brains blew out. Like, gosh. Can you kind of like lean in there a little bit? People prepare for the wedding, and not for the marriage.
Yeah. So, I mean, weddings are fun. Weddings are essentially a big party where all your family gets together, and
Take
everybody's happy. Yeah, and you can capture a moment in time where everybody's happy and, food is there, which always makes everybody happy,
Makeup up,
you get beautiful, it's probably one of the most beautiful dresses you'll ever wear, or whatever you wear, it's probably your best, and it's just
for the female, from the female's perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean, and even for you, I remember. Sidebar. No, you did not wear a dress.
Nothing against men wearing dress. Well,
yes, you do have. But anyway, this is what happened. When we were going to get married, I said, babe, why don't you just get a suit, and you can wear it again, like you can have your suit and you can wear it again. Because he was acting like he really just wanted to be so frugal, right? And so, and so I said, like you just really wanted to save money. And so I said, he did. But then when I suggested, so in the spirit of saving money, I suggested, why don't you get a suit so that you can wear it again, right? And do you know what he said? Yeah, I'm sure you don't. But it happened. And he said, he thought about it. And I can always tell when he's thinking about something because he kind of pauses and he gets this look on his face. And he was like, I don't want to wear a suit. I want to wear a tuxedo. And so, he got him a tuxedo. So, he was dressed up.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was his best, I would think. It's not like you wear a tuxedo every day. So, you had your tuxedo. So, anyway, I don't even know what.
So the wedding is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You get dressed up.
Yeah.
But then now we're talking about the day after the wedding.
The grind.
You're talking about a month later.
Yeah.
Now you're dealing with attitude.
Yep.
Now you're dealing with trying to make decisions together.
Yeah.
As a unit.
Yep.
Now you're dealing with idiosyncrasies, flaws, hiccups, hang-ups.
Yeah.
You got hardships.
Yep.
You got arguments.
You get the real person.
Yeah. And so now, do you have the stamina, the perseverance, the character, the backbone to say, I'm going to work through this no matter what?
Yeah.
Because it's going to get tough.
And by the way, that takes two.
Yes. Yes, it definitely
takes two.
So we understand that God has a view towards divorce. Mankind has a view. You said mankind is probably more selfish.
Yeah.
God's view is more self-sacrifice.
Selfless, yeah.
Well, we know that God knows all.
Yeah.
The God I serve, I just truly don't think that anything surprises him.
Right.
I don't think anything gets by him like, oh my God, they're getting divorces down there.
Yeah.
So he knew.
He did.
That people would say, you know what, I'm tapping out.
Yeah.
I don't think that I want to continue my life with you.
Right.
So now that we know that God is sovereign, he knows all, he understands the nature of mankind,
yeah,
our depraved condition, He knows divorce does exist. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it from, because I think that it gets, I think that marriage is for a lifetime. Let's get that documented. But I do know the divorces do take place. Mm-hmm. What do you think would be some things that you would say, you know what, man? I mean, I would never tell. I mean, I've counseled countless of men and women, and I can't say a time that I said, you need to go get a divorce.
Right.
But I've kind of like laid breadcrumbs, like, because it's like, you may consider.
Yeah.
You know, because, and it's a few reasons. I know my reasons why.
Yeah.
What would you say if like a lady was in a relationship, a marriage? Mm-hmm. Like, what is that place where you say, dang, I know it's going to damage a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know this is going to be affecting our dreams, our family, but gosh, I think we got to get a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do know that biblically, because we live from a biblical worldview, God gives reasons. Why don't you go ahead and state those, and then I'll piggyback.
Okay. Well, there's 3 reasons, and I think that one of the things we do is we only talk about one.
Yeah.
And we talk about adultery.
Yeah.
And that's the obvious. Now, I'm going to be honest. Lord forbid this ever happened, but even if Elena like committed adultery, I'm trying to find a way not to get a divorce. Not like, oh, I got my reason. No. And then abuse. Mm-hmm. Because divorce is not God's heart or his intention.
Yeah. But he hates it, he says.
Yeah, divorce is not God's heart or intentions.
Right.
But you are his heart and his intentions.
Yeah.
Meaning God says that you are the apple of his eye.
Right.
So there's no way that God wants you just being beaten.
Yeah.
Verbally, emotionally, physically. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, you stick with that.
Yeah.
Because I hate divorce.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he hates you being beaten.
Yeah, even more. Yeah.
Adultery, abuse, and then abandonment.
Okay.
Okay? Like say if you made a wedding vow and you were with your spouse and you guys said I do, and she just disappears. He just disappears.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you think God's intention is divorce is not God's heart nor his intention. But you are his heart and his intention.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want your whole life held up because for 2 years, this man disappeared on you. And you can't even move on. You can't date.
Yeah.
Biblically, you can't date. You can't even entertain a relationship. You can't do anything. Why? Because you're married. And, oh my God, God hates divorce. And I think people, because they don't have a biblical worldview or they don't take deep dives in the Bible, only one they say is adultery. So you really think that this man doesn't cheat on you, but he beats you verbally, mentally, emotionally every day, and you're saying, God's saying, yeah, he never cheated on me, so I got to stay with him.
Yeah.
No. They disappear. You don't know where they're at for
forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
And you stay married, and you're like, they're living their best life, and here you are stuck.
Yeah.
Because you got the wrong biblical worldview, or you distorted God's word, and you think, well, no, I got to stay here even though they abandoned me. And so it's adultery, abuse, and abandonment. If someone abandoned their vows and left you, you have the right to go and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and file for a divorce so I can continue to go on my life.
Yeah.
If not, I'm being handcuffed, not by the Bible. I'm being handcuffed of my view of the Bible, my perspective of the Bible.
It's good.
I'm not being handcuffed by the Bible because now you're taking the Bible and you're taking it out of context. So now that I've gotten off my soapbox of preaching, what now I gave you basically the guidelines.
Well,
do you like how I asked her? Then she said, well, okay, I know you guys. So
yeah,
that was good. That was good. Audience, pay attention. She's wise.
Well, no, the reason why I did that was because I felt like you could articulate those 3 things a lot clearer. Because I do agree with those exact 3 things. I feel like that God is made to be looked at very mean and unfair if he requires anyone, male or female, to stay in a relationship where they're being abused. But they haven't cheated, so I have to say, that I just can't see that lining up with and being consistent with God's character.
Now,
You know.
if I can push pause there are glory stories.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are glory stories where people may have, verbally abused you at one time and they get transformed.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you are taking your life and you're dumping it into the hands of your spouse, which is verbally, physically abusing you, and it's not getting better, and no one's changing, or they just abandon you. I'm not saying somebody abandon you and they come back and they say, no, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that.
Or you want, you're not looking, again, I'm not looking for the button to push, eject, I'm out of this marriage.
Yeah.
Just like I said, if you cheat
Yeah.
on me, Lord forbid, I'm
Yeah,
not
for
trying to
real.
fight for this
It's
thing.
horrible. Yeah.
So there's glory stories. So I'm not trying to give you like outs, because if it's that easy for you to just push, get out, it's like,
Why'd you even
where-
get in
where
the
was your
first
commitment
place?
at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where was
Yeah.
your commitment?
Yeah.
So work on it. But I'm saying these are reasons. Because remember, divorce is not God's heart and intention.
Yeah.
But you are
Yeah.
God's heart and intention. So he cares for you, along with your spouse. He cares for you so much that he does not want you to be bound and handcuffed and shackled where you can't live a life of freedom, because it was for Christ. It was for freedom
Yeah.
that Christ set you free. It was
Yeah.
for freedom. God came into your life. Christ came into your life for freedom, not to be bound.
Not to be bound. Yeah, for sure. So I think those are three solid biblical reasons, right? So, but like you were saying, the difference between how God views it and then how the world may view it. So here's some of the reasons why the world says. Now, I'm not co-signing any of this. I'm just saying
These are some of the
reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. Financial burdens or undiscussed debt.
So
You know what? Let me
financial
put my
pressure.
glasses on.
There
'Cause
you go. Financial pressure.
You know.
Okay, for financial pressure
Yeah.
can cause you. And yeah, financial pressure is actually a deadly assassination of marriage.
It is. These are more like the little foxes.
Yeah.
That can really just
And it's not really a real reason, but you can see why.
Yeah.
Like someone has, like they got school debt. Maybe they have some financial debt. That holds them back from being able to buy a house, and they just always looking each other upside their head like, if it wasn't for your school debt, we could be advancing or whatever.
it seems like that could be a conversation before you get married.
would
But
seem like it,
anyway.
but,
Or even a spouse that overspends all the time, and
Yeah.
it just is hindering and it's hurting the family. Yeah.
Well, and that's the reason why the dating process is so important, so you
Yeah.
can like kind of see these habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't do too good with money.
Yeah, for sure.
They ain't even worry about that debt. And you start noticing
Yep.
prior to on the other side of ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one reason. Not saying this is not an out for marriage. Once you said I do, now you need to work through that stuff.
Yeah.
But
For
these
me,
are-
that's what I feel like.
Okay.
These are things that people could or maybe even should try to work through. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, because it's not abuse.
Right.
It's not adultery.
Right.
It's not abandonment.
Yeah. However, some of these things can lead to
Absolutely.
abuse and abandonment and adultery. Okay, so number 2 is trouble opening up to your spouse. So that's
Transparency.
like transparency, communication issues, right?
Yeah, because you may have a stranger laying right in the bed with you, and you don't know what the heck is going on internally.
Wow.
You don't know what's going on in their mind. You don't know their struggles, and then what happens is it can get very depressing because you start feeling alone.
Yep.
And for whatever reason why you don't open up, now you got someone that you're supposed to be doing life with, and you're just basically existing with one another.
Yeah, pretty much roommates.
I can see that. Now, that's not a reason to get a divorce biblically, but people are getting divorced.
Yeah, because of it. Yeah,
Okay.
They're basically emotionally unavailable, for their spouse. Another one is the running of the family. Like who's gonna do what? Like, why am I expected to cook, clean, get the kids, run the soccer practice, all that,
Yeah.
and you just do nothing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They just can't come to terms with it.
And that's a conversation prior to marriage as well. Hey, look, these are my expectations.
Yeah.
And then you may not get all of what you expect. So there,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, I'm gonna tell you one word that really is in marriage that like it really goes underrated. The people don't evaluate it as much as they should, and it's compromise.
Yeah,
Like
for
that
real.
one word, you got to compromise. Like, okay, these are your expectations, but they have expectations as well.
Yep, yep.
Like, and that's so good to know everyone's role, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, this
Yeah.
is your role, and it works different with different marriages. So, if you don't communicate it, one person is just suffering,
Right.
silently
Yep.
suffering.
Yep.
And they're
Yep.
just putting up with this stuff, picking up the kids, dropping off the kids, paying the bills. It's like, and they never really signed up for it. It just kind of like got dumped on them. So people are actually getting
wild.
divorced for that. That's not a reason you should
Yeah.
get a divorce, not biblically, but people are actually getting divorced.
They are. And then number 4 is a lack of sex and intimacy.
That is a big one.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
it is.
People are
That hard pause, like I'm like, okay,
no, but
what's
seriously,
going on
people
here?
are not staying together because they're not having sex.
Yeah.
What a pity. That tells you how high sex is on. Now, it's not a reason to get divorced.
Right.
Don't try to use it. She abandoned me. No, no, she didn't do
She's
that.
literally right there. She just doesn't want to have sex with
He
you.
abandoned me. Well, they just
Wow.
didn't have sex. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
don't try to use that. But
Right.
I do think that, you know, in a relationship, you shouldn't use sex as a weapon.
Yeah.
You shouldn't weaponize
For
sex.
real.
Like, use it as a tool. I ain't giving you none. Mm-hmm. That's not cool. So, people are actually getting a divorce.
Yep. For lack
because
of
you're
intimacy.
not having sex and intimacy. Mm-hmm. That's not a reason to get divorced. But people are using that as
They
an
are.
excuse to get a divorce. Okay.
Here's one that I just feel like is like, what? But friends don't like your spouse.
Oh yeah, when you've been a friend, you've been in like single for a while, independent, and your crew,
Yeah.
you just been hanging with your crew,
Yeah.
and they just start clowning your husband or your wife.
Oh,
all
wow.
like, that's why you don't know what he doing over there with that girl. Man, he
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
My God, it's got to be. There's gonna be women at work.
Yeah.
and they just down you, and you got friends all the outside interference.
Outside interference. Them and like in-laws and stuff can be. They
I
can.
thank God for my
Yeah.
in-laws because you know what I'm saying.
I
They're
do
like
too. I
my-
thank God for mine too.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, my family love her more than me.
Well, I don't know
what
about
I'm
that,
saying?
but they do love me. I have to say.
I'm serious. My family, like, you know what I'm saying?
They are my
They
peeps.
just like, yeah, well, where Helena at? You know? We don't want to talk to you.
That's not exactly true, but,
but
they
love
do
me.
love me.
Yeah, but
I will
my
say
point
that.
is, and then my in-laws, her sisters, and my mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like a perfect setup
Yeah.
because they don't interfere. Like
Yeah,
some people,
right.
are always in your business, like just always in your business, you know. And so that's friends and outside interference that could be dangerous.
It's
Right?
very dangerous. Yeah, for sure.
That's not a reason to get a divorce, but people use it
But people use it.
as a reason.
And
to
it
get
and it
divorced.
is dangerous.
It is dangerous. It can really make your marriage unhealthy.
It can.
Because you really need a safe, healthy space and boundaries for your marriage to thrive and grow, and y'all to grow roots and build a family together.
Yeah.
And so that's a reason people are getting divorced.
Yep.
Again, it's not a reason to get a divorce, not biblically, but people
People use it
doing
as a reason. Yeah. So here's one that's pretty big. We've seen a lot: gambling, drug, and alcohol addiction.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nothing destroys a family like good old drug abuse. You know, I mean, it is a surefire way to end a marriage because it's just so you can't plan a future with the person who's an addict. You can't plan. I mean, you can barely plan tomorrow, let alone a future.
too many unpredictable.
Too many unpredictable
You know.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, because 20 years ago I was an addict, and it was been 20 years now that I've been set free, going on 20 years, and I know personally. So I'm going to say something from a personal experience of a 15-year of addiction myself. That drug addicts and addicts are super selfish. I mean, if mankind has been given a dose of selfishness, which we all have, like
Yeah.
we navigate and we usually incline and lean more towards preserving self than
Yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, if everyone has that dose, like an addict has like a quadruple dose.
My God. Yeah.
Like think about it.
It's true.
A drug addict will take kids, their own children's money, that they need to take care of their children and go blow it, and the kids will be homeless. You know, and think about that when it transfers over into a marriage. Like if
Yeah.
a man is an addict, he don't care.
Or a
about the
woman, for that matter.
Or a woman, you know,
Yeah.
they don't care about this.
Yeah.
And you gotta be selfless in a marriage. So drug addiction. Now watch this, which could lead to abandonment and
Yeah, that's why I said
adultery
some of these
and
things can lead to a
to
biblical
abuse. Yeah,
fix.
which would cause you, like, you know, I mean, think about if you have a man or a woman that's addict,
Yeah.
and they just disappear and abandon their house for 6 months or so. They just disappear. They gone.
Yeah.
They took everything. Now, we didn't see many glory stories.
Oh, yeah.
Of people's lives transformed.
For sure.
Thousands
For
upon
sure.
thousands
For sure.
of marriages restored because of Christ
Mm-hmm.
becoming the center. So thank God that some people just didn't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
But there are.
But that's a hard road.
Yeah,
That's a hard road to walk down. And that being said, if you know anyone who needs help breaking an addiction, we actually have a recovery home.
We have a recovery center, yeah.
Yeah, a recovery center. It's located at 4419 Hamilton Avenue, right here in Dallas, Texas. The phone number is 214-565-5005. So if you need help breaking an addiction, in Jesus' name, we're here to help you with that.
Totally free.
Totally free.
Everything's
Yeah.
free of charge. But the thing is you gotta know the timing. You gotta know that God, the Lord told you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, just think if you're just waiting forever. I'm believing and trusting God. It's been 2 years. They keep on just
2 years.
every card you get.
Okay.
They flip it over, throw it. It's in a ditch. They go into jail.
Evictions and just,
evictions and drain your accounts. Now eventually you're going to be like,
Yeah, I need a better quality of life.
Yeah. Now we've seen some glory stories.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's not a reason to get a divorce. But many people are getting divorced because of these things.
Nothing tears a marriage apart quite like it.
And divorce is not God's heart or his intention.
Yeah.
But you are God's heart and his intentions.
Yeah, for sure. So here's another one, a toxic spouse. They're narcissistic or lazy and controlling.
So people are getting divorced because people are narcissistic.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty
toxic.
hard to live with a narcissist. I mean, yeah, narcissistic, lazy, like
Now,
they
again,
just
this
do
is
not.
a reason to get a divorce. But many people are getting divorced because of it.
Yeah. The spouse is lazy, doesn't want to work, doesn't want to contribute to the family.
I can see it, but this is not a reason biblically to get a divorce.
Mentally, emotionally, or even sexually abusive partner.
Well, yeah, abuse, again, there it is.
There it is. That is
That
a reason.
abuse is a reason. Like when you abuse, I mean, remember, divorce is not God's heart or his intention,
Yeah.
but you are his heart and his intention.
Yeah.
Meaning you are the apple of his eye, and he does not want to see you being abused.
Right.
Because he loves you, and he loves the abuser as well.
Yeah.
But he does not want you to be in that situation.
Absolutely not. And so here's the last one: high or unattainable expectations. Yeah.
Unrealistic expectations. You are my purpose.
Wow.
There's people that literally get in a marriage and swear them down that the spouse is their purpose. That's not true.
Not at all.
You complete me. Lie. That is a lie from the pits of hell. You don't complete me. You know what I'm saying? Jesus completes me.
Yeah.
And we are completely a match made in heaven when we come together because we both are complete. But you do not complete me. You are not my purpose.
Right.
You do not. Watch this. You make me happy. You can't make me happy. I
Right.
better have that myself. I might have some happy moments with you, but I better be happy myself. These are all reasons that people, get a divorce many times because they put unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic.
On the other spouse.
Yeah.
That ain't even fair.
Right. Like,
I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to be your court gesture or something, just making you happy all day. You know what I'm saying? You're running around doing all kind of little tricks. You're like, no, that wasn't good enough.
let me start juggling now. But the thing is that those unrealistic expectations. What I've been getting throughout all of these reasons why people get divorces is that a lot of this stuff could be solved with outside probably of the addictions and like narcissistic abusive behaviors. A lot of this stuff is conversations. It's being willing to come to the table, be open, be honest, be transparent, be vulnerable
Yes.
with your spouse. And a lot of these things can be solved and corrected in that way. So that being said, another statistic, this is from Focus on the Family, which is a very good resource, for marriage and family issues. They say that so the divorce rate is holding strong at 50%, right? And they were
A little bit above 50%.
a little above, okay, 50%, a little above. It's been holding strong like that for years. So you got a 50-50 chance this thing is gonna make it, right? Well, they say that 20 to 25% of Christian marriages end in divorce. So it's a little bit lower for Christian marriages because both parties are committed to a life of following Christ. So that dramatically brings down your chances for divorce. When I'm living my life committed to Christ, you're living your life committed to Christ. We're both walking out our relationships with Christ as individuals. So when we come together, we're more willing to be, compromising, and the conversations are a little softer, and that kind of thing is what they say.
Okay. Yeah,
They say the highest.
That's pretty interesting statistics, because statistics go different for different places. It seemed like, because for a while they were saying, and if that's recent, that means it went down, because at one time they were saying Christians and secular marriages were like right there neck and neck.
Neck and neck for a long time. When I read
time.
that statistic, and again, I'm sure, that was one source. I'm
Right.
sure that there's other information out there, but I thought, and the reason why I wanted to talk about it and state it was because I could see that. Now that's a drastic drop, but I can see that why it would be if people are living committed to Christ, because again, the fundamental piece of Christian living is dying to self.
Yeah.
And so when you bring that mindset into a marriage already, it makes your marriage sweeter. It makes it healthier, because you come with an understanding that I matter, I'm valued, I'm important, but it's not always 100% of the time about me, you know?
Yeah, I think that maybe the wording is the commitment. Committed to Christ, because some people are going to church, or they claim they're just Christians and may not be committed to Christ.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. If you commit to Christ, and you begin to commit to growth,
Yeah.
like you won't have to commit to goals in your marriage. You'll crush all those goals. Like the narcissistic goal, you'll crush it because you're growing. You'll crush the addiction because you're growing. You'll crush the abuse because you're growing. You'll crush the financial area because you're growing. So if you commit to Christ and you begin to grow, all those goals, you'll crush it in opening up and being transparent, because it's obvious that I need to, have a multitude of counselors. It's obvious I need to be transparent in my relationships, because I'm growing. So growth is your best asset when it comes to marriage.
Give us a little example of what growth for an individual would look like that would positively affect a marriage.
Well, growth is definitely practical. You can't remove practicality from growing.
Right.
I'm not talking about just reading. I'm not talking about just praying. I'm not talking about just going to church. I'm talking about, like, if your wife says something, your spouse says something to you, growth looks like, I want to say my opinion, and I want to make sure that I prove that, she's wrong, or, defend myself. Growth looks like many times like just, not saying anything. Like discipline yourself to just not say anything, and that's that's a battle every day. That should be the goal. Not saying something back. Just what they call humble yourself. Let the Lord fight for you, and just another thing of growth is if you're dealing with finances, you start disciplining yourself and says, okay, I'm gonna tell my money where I want it to go.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm going to tell my money where I want it to go, so it doesn't affect my marriage.
Yeah.
So it's so important for each and every last one of us to grow up in order for our marriages to grow deeper and more intimate. And now divorce is not the option.
Yeah.
That's we're going to fight the good fight. We're going to finish this course together.
Yeah.
Because what God brought together, no man can bring apart or tear apart.
Okay. So is there hope after divorce?
Yeah, I believe there's hope after divorce. I think that a person should go through a time where they allow God to minister to them, refresh them, revive them
sure.
personally, in the presence of God, or with some therapists or with counselors. Get around some healthy single men, healthy single women if you're a woman, or get around in some community where you can begin to start getting healed and find freedom in areas in your life so you can better yourself, because it takes two. And so even though you may want to blame everyone else, your spouse, your counterpart, for the reason why you got a divorce, you played a role as well.
Yeah.
And so in that community, you'll find out, maybe I need to grow and get healed from that area, or maybe I don't need to bring that into my next relationship. So my next relationship can actually be healthy, thriving, and it can, we can finish this marriage.
Yeah.
I don't have to get married again and then get a divorce, because then now you're going to have scars and regret, and you have a lot of, self-doubts, can I win? Am I even built to win? Can I even have relationships?
Yeah.
So you want to go on a growth journey after that, and you keep that growth journey even after you get your next spouse.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, whew, I grew, I got me one. Well, let me lay back and relax. No, you can't get complacent. You got to keep on growing.
Yeah.
And so there's hope.
And that's if you want to remarry, or re-enter the.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because, okay, maybe you're 60, 70. Okay, finish strong, single. But when someone's 30, 40, 50, let's be honest, you probably want to have sex. Let's just be real.
I don't know why that shocked me for you to say that. I should have been ready.
Well, yeah, you should have been ready. Because,
anyway.
Not that marriage is all about sex.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you really want to have, and you want a companion.
Yeah, you do.
You want to do life with someone. It's not just about sex. But
yeah.
I led with that. But, that's true. You won't probably want to have sex.
All right, so there is hope after divorce. Don't start that.
From 30 to 70 without
oh my God,
another
babe.
companion.
There you go.
Without someone to do life with.
Yes.
To have sex, enjoying life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not just sex, but I'm just saying, that. This is a real
that is
world.
Real.
And who goes 40 years without having sex? This is a real world.
It is.
You're going to set yourself up to be, come on, that's putting yourself in the temptation's way.
Yeah.
Like you're putting yourself in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
Most people want to have, the opposite sex or someone that they can do life with, hang out with a companion to, just enjoy life. And then, yes, ultimately, the end game, many times you end up having sex. And so, divorce is real, but there's hope after divorce. There's hope. Remember, if you're being abused, if you've been abandoned, you've had adultery in your marriage, those are reasons. I'm not saying, push the eject button and say, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But biblically, there's ways out of an unhealthy marriage that is destroying you, because divorce is not God's heart or his intention. But you are God's heart and his intention. So marriage moments, once again, we talked about divorce. Very difficult topic.
There is absolutely hope after divorce. My sister, just to give you a little update on that, she is thriving. She has a wonderful life. She's happy. She's dating. She bought her home. She's just doing really well. And she went on a growth journey, a healing journey that she's continuously on to this day.
Yep.
Her son graduated from high school. He's doing well. It's just, God is just good. And he saw her through that tough time, and she's on the other side of it now. And so we're just really grateful for that. There is absolutely hope after divorce, and all the reasons that Billy went over are absolutely great. Take a break, heal, go on your growth journey, breathe, go back out there and date if that's your thing, and understand that you are God's heart, the apple of his eye, and divorce is not something that he's just bent on, but you are. His affection is towards you. And so we just thank you for joining us, and do us a favor, like, subscribe. I'm assuming you're subscribed if you're joining us. I hope you will subscribe, and then share this with someone. We have back episodes that you can go back through and watch, and we just want to say God bless you. Thank you for joining us, and you guys be blessed.
Marriage Moments with Eisen.